Good evening, everyone. Good evening, Speed Gaming. We're getting towards the end of the group stage of this Link to the Past 2019 tournament. Today we have Frostbite versus JP. My name is Tracy M. With me tonight is Spyweaver. How are you doing?
I am doing wonderfully. Looks like we got ourselves a rematch here, actually, between Frostbite and JP from the first round of Group G. Both runners met up right away, right off the bat there to start things out. The first time they met, however, Frost won that one 2-1. So it just goes to show you how closely matched that these two runners are. So we should have a good one on our hands tonight.
Absolutely. Looking forward to see what goes on tonight. This is game one, so we are a 7-7 open, so nothing changed.
Good old 7 crystals to get into the tower, 7 to make Ganon vulnerable, and of course the open world state. You don't have to start off with the escape sequence if you don't really want to. You can go ahead and go wherever you want, wherever you can get.
And here we go. And looks like, whoop, we got JP opening up the chest in Link's house. We got Frostbite starting on Sanctuary. And a very quick map check. I saw 3 crystals with a red crystal on Tower of Hera.
Frostbite giving another check just for confirmation. 3 crystals there in the light world before.
Always nice to see those crystals in the light world. Hopefully they become accessible earlier. And maybe you don't have to do something like TR or Misery Mire.
It's always nice when you're able to skip one of those later ones, especially Ice Palace, which is another one of those that most runners kind of have an aversion to. Frostbite giving us a check at the ledge, just a shield sitting over there today.
Yeah,
so
we won't be getting that.
One for that.
Won't have to worry about a lag shield today, that's for sure.
Exactly, kind of the silver lining there for you. After grabbing the 2 chests in the Uncle area, JP making his way up towards Sanctuary, and Frostbite is in the Lost Woods. Well, looks like he might be knocking down a few more enemies to try to get that tier 2 or 3 tree pull.
Oh, nice pull. Got some bombs. Don't have to worry about those so much. Very nice to have those bombs before you get into Kakariko.
Definitely makes routing Kakariko just a little bit easier. And speak of the devil, there's more bombs in the drop down there, so it should be good for bombs for quite a while.
JP also seeing that small shield on the lumberjack ledge, knows he doesn't have to worry about getting that later.
And both runners kind of doing the same little bit pathing here, going from the Sanctuary on down to Kakariko, one of the more common routes to check out these first few bit of check. Frostbite was starting here in Blind's hut, just giving us 20 rupees, full heart container, quarter of a heart, and of course another full heart container.
And those bombs are a little more important for JP since he didn't get that bomb tree pull, so it'll be nice for him to have some to do some of these early checks. Oh, there he goes. He picks up more bombs. He did the tree pull afterwards.
Goes and grabs them anyways. Always nice when you don't have to do a little bit of a squirrely routing there in Kakariko and go buy some bombs before jumping into either the well or Blind's hut.
Yeah, bombs, that early item that you want to see early, but not much after that.
And probably the only time that you actually see somebody want bombs, and we have Boots already hiding in the well.
And
the moon
pearl.
Oh boy.
Well, now if they go kill Aga, they can go get that shield.
If you really want it,
Yeah.
but... Bottle vendor looking to be a bomb vendor today.
And nothing in the chicken hut. JP looking a little bit behind, but not really. He's already checked Link's house and the uncle area, so unfortunately didn't get anything out of that.
Yep, just cross off a few other early checks, and oh my.
Mirror. Oh, we got a couple of really good movement items. All we need is a flute now.
Is that going to be sitting here on library, I bet?
Well, whatever's in library, they can get it at least. Don't see that very often. It looks like Frostbite thought about it for a second. You know, this early on, picking up rupees to get yourself to that Zora money is not a bad idea, but decides not to pick it up.
We'll just have to see if JP does when he comes across that as well. Like he said, it's usually nice when you see those, even the 50 rupee stack early on, just to get you close to that 500 mark for Zora.
Frostbite with the blind race game check. Looks like he will pick up the heart container. This early, it's nice to have extra health.
Yeah, something you'll see runners usually pick up early on in games, usually until they get around the 10 heart area. Well, once you go there, you just kind of tend to avoid those ones. A little bit of a consequence there of having the boots early in places you're not really used to having them. You tend to bonk a little more often.
Well, plus not having the sword. Which, when you run into enemies, means you're gonna bonk. I don't know if they officially call that a bonk, but not fun.
Either way, it's not really intended.
Oh, and a bow already? Oh boy.
Oh my.
We might see an early Eastern clear here. Not completely in logic since we have no fire source, but these guys can do dark rooms. And a hook shot! What is this?
Well, let's see, definitely giving us a lot of items early on. Oh my. This will just be yet to see if it turns into one of those where you get a whole bunch of items early on and you got about an hour in the middle where you just get absolutely nothing.
Well, one interesting thing is other than that Moon Pro, we have nothing for Dark World access yet. Neither items to go to Aga nor a hammer glove combination.
Yes, well, we do have items, not quite what they need.
Well, there's a
Frostbite,
sword at
wow.
least.
Finds that first swords. That's one piece of that puzzle, but probably not the piece they want to see.
Interesting that there's the lamp.
And there's another one.
And interesting that JP decides to check the desert area first and gonna go into Agina.
It could just be a consequence of these two having already met this tournament and raced each other plenty of times prior. And you kind of tend to do some things that your partner, your opponent, wouldn't be doing early on, just to try to get a little bit of a leg.
Unfortunately, just a piece of heart at Agina. And Ice Rod Cave gives us also a piece of heart.
I guess it didn't really matter which way you went, you're getting the same outcome. The only difference being that JP has the knowledge of where that lamp is at. While not necessarily needed, it'll just give him a little bit of an idea of different logic gaps.
Yeah, and I suspect he'll pick it up when the time comes. It just makes things a little bit faster in those dark rooms, even though all these guys can do it. All the runners in this tournament can absolutely do whatever dark room's necessary. But it is a lot slower in certain ones of them. And getting some fake flippering on Frostbite's side. And nothing in Sarasala's closet. We'll see if JP decides to go into Eastern.
Empty bottle filled with red goo today. Usually a pretty good trade-off there.
Frostbite can use this stored water walk to go ahead and check the hobo.
She happened to see what was sitting there on Lake Hylia Island on his way by.
It did not.
Half magic.
Ooh. That is always a nice thing to be able to pick up.
Very nice convenience items. Yet to be seen, you know, it depends on whether or not he'll go back for it or when he gets the opportunity.
I would try to go back for it, unless it was really far out of the way. Especially if I end up having to do ice. Yeah, I'm going to go get that.
Definitely. Just give you a few more shots with that fire rod. Can be a little more careless. And makes things a little easier.
Because it looks like Frostbite is also going to make the eastern play.
Big difference, of course, with Frostbite having that sword, having went to the South Shore route first. JP, however, has not. Seems we'll see a little bit more use out of the bow and the hook shot.
Looks like Frostbite also is going to continue into Eastern Palace.
Yeah, definitely like this play here early on. Basically got the only item you need to essentially clear Eastern, even though it's not within logic without that lamp. It's a crystal, may as well go for it.
I do believe we saw both the map and the compass, so we will have an item on the Armos Knights. Not going to be progression well, not going to be the early progression items that we're looking for necessarily, though I suppose it could be a glove if the mitts are, the other glove upgrade is somewhere accessible. Assuming that's the way they're supposed to get into the Dark World anyway.
Yeah, and if you're JP, probably the last thing you'll want to see would be that book, especially since you know where that lamp is sitting.
Well, you want to see that book, but you just don't want to see it until after you've gotten a glove and a hammer, or both gloves.
A little bit later on than right now, at least.
Yeah, exactly. Oh, we already have silvers. Not even 12 minutes in, and we got our silver arrows. And in JP's case, getting silver arrows before even getting a single sword.
I guess there's going to be no complaints about that one. Coming up very shortly, we'll get a very good demonstration as to just exactly why the silvers are actually locked as late in the game, vanilla-wise, as they usually are. Just make quick work of pretty much every enemy here.
Ooh. JP having trouble with that dark room. Takes a death. He is going to go back in, it looks like. That's rough.
Yeah, this is the one where Frostbite will have a little bit of advantage with that sword. He'll pull that out and get some sparkles so he knows where he's at. Kind of help place himself a little better. So it looks like JP didn't even get the key there from the enemy.
Yeah, that dark room is a much more difficult dark room. Like the one Frostbite's in right now is a very, as easy as any of the dark rooms are.
Yeah, that one's a big circle, just some 2 anti-fairies flying around and a couple other little enemies that don't do too much damage. You'll eventually get where you want it. The back one, however, has quite the assortment of enemies. If you're not too careful, it can get a little dicey, as we saw. JP gets the key this time. He's using the dust from his boots to get himself an idea where he's at. Still taking a few more hits. Gotta be careful, he's down to 2 here.
I was going to duck out and take some fairies here. I think that's really smart.
Yeah, good call here. Don't want to take another death there and put yourself a little bit farther behind, especially this early on.
Oh,
however, meanwhile, Frostbite also having issues on his side. And he's gonna do the same exact thing.
Yeah, what makes this part a little bit more difficult than you might expect is you have to be right in front of that pot to be able to pick it up. And if you're just to the side of it, it doesn't quite pick up. And of course, it blocks you from going through.
Make it a little hard to find because it's not exactly on top on the wall. You can just come down just a few pixels. And there he finds. A little bit of an early hiccup for both runners. But we're back to the light now, so we should be good here. Totally just muscle memory there for JP going to try to set up a quick kill stop spot right there.
Yeah, with the silver arrows, doesn't really need it. And we get our first crystal.
Quick
Not
work
even
there.
15 minutes in.
Exactly. First blood there. Just a little under 15 minutes. Frostbite quickly behind, taking down his Armos Knight fight and getting his very first crystal as well.
Unfortunately, just arrows.
So the trek continues, either for an item for Aga or items for Dark World access.
Looks like JP is going to go ahead and hit those South Shore items. Going to be... Wonder how he'll feel when he sees that sword. At this point, I think the only thing left to them is the front of escape. Looks like that's where Frostbite is going to go.
Is it?
Now he also hasn't checked the uncle spot, so he'll do that first, I suspect.
I'm not sure if anybody has taken one of those bottles back to Sick Kid yet either.
Ooh, that's right. One more check we can do.
I should say Frostbite, since he's the one with one. The JP about to get one here very shortly.
And both still just a little bit short of Zora money. And I don't think either one of them put those rupees in the library. They would be at Zora money right now if they had it. At least Frostbite would be, and JP would be awfully close.
I believe they both just left him sitting right up there on the library shelf for someone else to find. However, no glove and no flippers yet. It's not quite in logic. So whatever we're looking for, there's going to be something down here. It's just a matter of which items it is.
A fire rod. So that doesn't open up Aga, but does open up the Dark Cross. And actually made finishing up Eastern in logic, since we did not see the big key behind the dark room that doesn't have the torch.
It closes most of those logic gaps, however, it still leaves the silver arrows out of logic. But we do know that lamp is hiding over there on Desert Lake.
JP gonna do his fake flipper / water walking to get some of these checks done.
Frostbite continuing down towards Zelda's cell. One more item there before needing to go to the back. And of course, with the mirror, it'll make it that much easier to actually get back around there.
And always nice when you can come down here and not have to worry about death warping.
As well as have an item like the silver arrows that just about one-shots anything you're going to run into.
So this is going to be interesting. I suspect we're going to find the key here so that he can go all the way to the back.
And at this point, the only things it could be would probably be either the key or the gloves.
Yeah. Yeah, hammer doesn't really open anything right now. Oh, I suppose it could be the book to get us that lamp as well.
Alright, what do we got on our hands here?
Just money.
Sick kid.
Sick kid.
Sick Kid is the answer. Or if they haven't checked Bound Crocs yet either. I don't know if we've seen either
Oh,
one of
that's
them
right. We
check
have
that
not seen
item.
that yet. I bet Frostbite will check that first and then head over to back to town to check that Sick Kid. His other option is Agina, and
Yep.
not the one he wants to go to if he can choose something else. And there you go. There's some gloves. Yeah, that
opens a
allows us
little
to do
more.
back. Yeah, well, allows us to do back of escape.
And
Also
or
will
if you
allow
want a
us to
sequence break.
make. It looks like that's where he's headed right now. And since we don't have a flute, doing this sequence break is really nice because you get that save quit spot over in the mountain.
However, JP going the opposite way with those gloves. He's going to go to the back of escape.
Yeah, 3 in logic items here makes a lot of sense. But he'll probably go get the old man right after this. And I suspect Frostbite, after checking the Death Mountain stuff, will probably come back to the back of escape. But only one item, and it's mitts!
Ooh.
Just one item, but oh my god. It is an item we want. And JP hasn't checked the Dark Cross, so he's gonna head over there.
Definitely a big find there, getting your second mitt out of the back of escape. Frostbite looks like we're gonna go check East Death Mountain over here.
You know, and since they've both already done the fake flippers play, I don't see either one of them going back to Zora anytime soon.
Yep, especially since JP went and checked the item on the ledge. It was just a big 20. So you've got to assume it'd probably be a last location for him if there's something hiding over.
At the bottom of Paradox Cave holding nothing. And it looks like JP did not end up starting in the place he meant to, so it looks like he's going to save and quit again. A cape, some flippers. Okay, so Paradox Cave giving us a cape for a bumper ledge access, some flippers.
At the very least, that does make Zora logical now. However, JP not really interested in going up the mountain or anything up there. We're taking those mitts to the Dark World here.
Yeah, I like this route divergence. Didn't get a good look at that map, but hopefully our tracker, shouting out Yoinker's wife for doing the tracking, doing the hard job behind the scenes.
Yep, we got one of our 5/6s up there in Skull Woods, and all 3 of the pendants are along the south there. Misery Mire, Swamp Palace, and Ice Valley. The green being Swamp, if I recall right.
And interesting with Swamp Palace being a pendant dungeon and the runners having everything they need for it but hammer. We know they'll get the hammer.
It's gonna be somewhere here soon. Alright, Frostbite going right back up the mountain. I was wondering if this is where we're gonna go right away. Looks like we might actually be going up to try to check spec and go right into Tower of Hera, given it's another one of our crystals.
Yeah, when you have these crystal dungeons that you can full clear if you like, nice to get them done early.
Definitely knock out things that you need to when you can. Hopefully you stumble across an item or two that you can use in the meantime.
And a Master Sword for JP in Skull Woods.
course, our big key hiding out in Pinball Room. Another one of those changes that as of version 31, it is not always going to be an assured small key.
Okay, looks like Frostbite's gonna do the Harrow Pot. I do believe he has not picked up the big key, which would mean it's in the basement.
Yep, we got the small key down below, and didn't quite catch what was in the chest beside him here in the atrium. We got a fire-locked big key down there. If you can pull off this Harrow Pot, it usually saves you roughly around a minute, I believe, give or take.
And he decides to give up on it. Yeah, it saves you time if you get it.
Yep.
But at least this way, you know, there could be something in the big chest. He doesn't have to worry about that now. Because he will be able to check it. And JP doing some North Dark World checks.
Going right over to King's Tomb here, it looks like. That one just coming up as a heart container.
Gonna check Graveyard Ledge next.
There we go, Frostbite grabbing the big key downward its fire-locked area.
Just some bombs on the Graveyard Ledge, so nothing there.
Frostbite making good use of the bounce back there at the fighter's sword. Doesn't really do enough damage to take out those blue beetles in one hit. If you do kind of angle it just right, you can knock them down the hole and good as kill.
And of course, since Frostbite only has that fighter sword, gonna have quite the vanilla Moldorm fight here. And it was a rupee in the big chest, so there was an item there. Kind of a good news, bad news things. The bad news being that it wasn't a very good item. The good news being that since Frostbite wasn't able to get the Harrow Pot, he does at least know that there's nothing that he has to come back for here. Had he gotten it, he would have left one item behind and might have checked it later, and that would have been a bigger time loss, I think, doing it later than doing it now.
Yeah, definitely. Just make sure you basically get the place cleared on your way there the first time. You just don't have to come back or have something land on your mind. Meanwhile, JP had actually made a stop over there in the chess game. He found himself a book.
And I believe he's the one that knows where that lamp is.
There you go, a very vanilla-looking Moldorm fight down for Frostbite. He'll grab his second crystal of the match, that one being one of the 5/6 crystals.
And nothing else particularly interesting in the front of the town. Always a bit of a danger here. He could end up leaving an item in the big chest, and of course we do not have the hammer, so we can't get to it.
Always a gamble, but usually one that's fairly worth taking. Can pay off. Sometimes you'll get lucky and it's just a small key hiding in that big chest. Other times you might not get as lucky.
Looks like Frostbite gonna take a quick detour over to Zora.
Grabbing those flippers he got from Paradox Cave, heading back up there. This is now within logic. This as well as Zora's left. already did see Ledge from JP, but we have not seen what Zora has for us today for his 500 rupee scam.
And we see another item on JP's side. Unfortunately, just some bombs.
And Zora, of course, just giving us a little piece of his heart for 500 rupees.
It's a very expensive heart piece.
Okay, now Frostbite going to the back of Escape. He's soon to grab his mitts. That'll close the puzzle here for him.
And a red cane over in Thieves Town. So fortunately, that is I believe that is our fourth item.
Yep, that
Don't
is
have to
item
worry
number
about
4.
the small key is locked in the big chest. Don't have to worry about coming back here without a hammer. Or with a hammer, I should say.
It just means, logic-wise, the dungeon is technically hammer-locked. So it just kind of gives you an idea of where that hammer could still be. Alright, JP on into blind. 3 phases, 3 hits per phase. Doesn't matter what weapon you use, what sword. It could be fighter, it could be butter, or you could be crazy and use the hammer.
In this case, that was not an option.
Yep, just good old-fashioned Master Sword for 1 rupee. JP getting crystal number 2, taking down Thieves Town, evening this up 2-2. Well, Frostbite with a little bit of an advantage here. He's got that fire rod. You can actually take that to the back of Skull Woods and clear Skull Woods out right now.
And Sick Kid just with 300 rupees for us. JP remembers to check him. Looks like Frostbite's going to go to the back of Skullwoods and do that first. The one unfortunate part to this is that he is leaving that Master Sword in the front. I like the play to go to the back first, because, you know, then if you find both items back here, you don't ever have to go to the front, but unfortunately, we know there's a Master Sword in the front. It's going to make this fight against Mothra that much more difficult.
Yeah, definitely good play here, I'll say, by Frostbite going to the back first. You have to go back here regardless. You do have to take out Mothila being it's a crystal. Just go ahead and go back here. Knock it out first. So if that's just one of your 2 items, it's less that you have to check out in the front and middle section.
Meanwhile, JP in the digging game. A lot of digs today.
Still looking.
And a blue boomerang, which he decides not to pick up. A little surprised about that. Not really a necessary item, but it's certainly a nice one.
I mean, if they're gonna make you dig 30 times for it, you may as well grab it.
Exactly.
Meanwhile, Frostbite taking down Mothula. Crystal number 3. That's another one of them 5-6 crystals as well. I believe I saw another item. That was our second item there, full heart container.
And JP picking up a mushroom at the South Grove Cave, or Cave 45.
Somewhat of a fetch quest to go grab another fetch quest.
And blue mail, a nice luxury from Stumpy. Now, it looks like JP's going to go check that hype cave.
Good slew of items back here. We'll get to see here if it's actually going to be
Bombs,
hype
not a
or
good
just
start.
a little bit of...
And arrows. And rupees. Okay, there we go. Tempered sword in a bottle. So nothing needed. Nothing they absolutely need, but tempered sword versus master sword is definitely a nice upgrade. And an extra bottle doesn't hurt.
Not at all. Getting that tempered sword is a good damage upgrade over the master sword. Something these runners will definitely be glad to see when they both get it.
And we're going to see the Bombos tablet here.
This could be a Bombos into Desert Palace, and he could be going to grab that lamp too, since he hasn't grabbed the fire.
Yeah, he will be able to full clear this.
Open up your book, hold your sword up to the heavens, and you just big old whole bunch of explosions, and you just get another bottle with beat.
Frostbite can do some of these North Dark World checks that JP has already done. And we do see a small key, so JP's going to go over and check the right side.
Prodigal hunt for the hammer continues. Find the big key sitting over here on the right side in the first chest.
A bug net. Not exactly what he's looking for.
You can go ahead and get yourself some style points on Aga too if you want to.
And with that map on the torch, we were completely not boots locked, but we had boots pretty early, so it really didn't matter. And that's our second item, that single rupee, so nothing of worth in Desert Palace, but JP will be able to pick up that lamp, just make those dark rooms that much easier.
Always good when you get one of those little quality of life items like that. Frostbite is showing Sick Kid his bottle and stealing Sick Kid's life savings. Not really fair to take advantage of the poor guy when he's down like that. Alright, well, we do have a little bit of a lull here with JP making his way towards Landmo and Frostbite going over some stuff we've already seen. Be sure to give these runners a quick follow on their own Twitch channels. They definitely appreciate it when you join them over there when they are in the process of doing other runs throughout the day. They're putting on here a show for your entertainment, so always nice to go ahead and give them the support. So don't forget to go ahead and make your visit over to their channels and give them a follow. JP fairly close to the one cycle there with the silver arrows on Lamo. Just misses, but gets the two cycle. Down goes Lamo, giving crystal number 3. We're even back up here. 3 crystals to 3 crystals.
You know, these totally different routes. No idea who's can't even begin to guess who's in the lead at the moment.
Oh, not at all. The only telltale sign will be when or if somebody finds the hammer at this point. For now, we're just going around knocking things out.
Yeah, looking at what we need, we definitely need the hammer. We're gonna need the ice rod. I don't necessarily need that flute because Misery Mire is a pendant. We might not get that. And we're gonna need at least one medallion for Turtle Rock. So we're not that far off.
Just a quick handful of items. For all intents and purposes, they could all be sitting very near the same location. Alright, here we go. JP making his way right up the mountain for the first. Find a slew of items. We'll just see if he decides to go to Tower of Hera first or if we go to East Death Mountain first.
And with those mitts, he will be able to also check the dark part of Death Mountain.
That's right, an item Frostbite didn't have on the first time up here. So he's got access to a few extra checks that Frostbite did.
Yeah, and also, if nothing else, finding out what medallion you need for Turtle Rock so you can be searching for it and be ready for it when it comes.
Yep, and in a lot of cases, that knowledge is definitely power, especially for a medallion. You find the one medallion you need because you already know what it is, you can stop hunting for the other one. Looks like our answer is JP heading over towards Tower of Hera's side.
Well, again, it's a crystal dungeon. You need to do it at some point, so we know there was. If I remember correctly, there really wasn't anything there. But you're here now, you might as well get it done. I'm gonna check the ether tablet though first. We have not seen this check yet.
Another check up here we haven't seen yet.
And just a piece of heart.
Frostbite subjecting blind to the opened hole in the ceiling and somehow transforming them into a little monster. Blind is actually one of those fights where if you do it the exact same time every single time you're in here, you can keep it on what they call a script and basically execute the same inputs in the same manner, and it won't change from time to time.
So JP also going to go for the Hera pot.
And meanwhile, it looks like Frostbite has taken down Blind. That is crystal number 4. JP doing a few pause buffering maneuvers here to try to get to the right pixel and get.
So again, it's going to be a good news, bad news for him. So the good news is he is going to be able to get up there that much quicker and save a little bit of time, but he is going to leave an item behind. He's not going to know what that item is. So he could potentially come back here later for that item and find out it's nothing.
It's just one of those things that you run the risk when you end up doing that minor glitch. It just matters how much that one leftover check weighs on your mind later on.
And Frostbite does pick up the blue boomerang, so. And JP showing you the difference between the Moldorm fight when you have Tempered Sword versus Frostbite's Spider Sword.
Blink and Moldorm is gone. That is crystal number 4 on JP's side as well. Of course, it does look like Frostbite did pick up that blue boomerang, whether it was on purpose or by accident, but we might never know. I was thinking I dug 30 times in the ground for this, I'm grabbing.
That was a very long dig game. And JP can do the Dark Death Mountain checks first. But he has the mirror, so he has a choice what order he wants to do them in. actually. So, yeah, I don't think I've seen it done quite this way. Mirroring in front of the cave to go through, which makes sense because then you can keep that mirror equipped and go ahead and delete that block. I kind of like this routing he's doing right now.
Yeah, it'll definitely help you actually get up the mountain on the Dark World side of things a little bit better. If you mirror right there, you can check the Light World side of things, come back out, hit your mirror, hit Super Bunny, go up, and probably planning on grabbing a hookshot cave as well while he goes up that right. Just tracing over each other's steps here. Frostbite grabbing that mushroom for his fetch quest. JP grabbing the cape and flipper. Just closing a few more lodge gaps and giving him access to a few more locations. Meanwhile, we have a few guards not playing nice with Frostbite over there. Alright, new checks coming up over here on JP's side, while Frostbite's taking that purple chest over to its own.
But gonna check Hype Cave first.
Yeah, I think we can go with the designation of Cave 73 today.
But he'll get a tempered sword, so not a complete loss. JP, meanwhile, messing up the blocks here, had to reset the room. And just gets a whole lot of bombs.
So bombs and Super Bunny, Frostbite grabbing the temper. JP heading over here to give us a peek at Turtle Rock. We have bombos today.
Now let's see what that island has. I don't think we saw this on Frostbite's side. Just a rupee, so we're not going to pick that up.
Last time we'll see that side of the floating island. JP working down in Hookshot Cave, turning in the purple chest today, just getting us a piece of heart.
So far, 2 sets of 20s. 3! Okay, so only this is Red Rupee Cave. And a single arrow. Ouch.
It's kind of almost adding insult to injury there, I feel. A lot of nothings. JP making his way through Spiral Cave.
So off
at the bottom.
Did we see this over on Frostbite's side? I don't think so.
I don't think we did.
But it's just a piece of heart anyway.
Very interesting what we got going on here. That mushroom's starting to look better and better by the moment.
Yeah, hard part about that mushroom is without the fluid, it just makes it that much harder to get to the witch's hut. Okay, JP looks like he's finally going to go to the front of Escape. Gonna find that fire rod. We'll probably lead him over to Skull Woods, which he already checked part of, so he's gonna get one more item there, and I don't remember that it was, I think it was a heart container?
Yeah, it was just a heart container sitting over there on Mothula. So I'll at least be able to get the second item fairly quick. Still just leaving us with a few questions as to where at this point that hammer can be hiding.
Yeah, some pretty crappy locations at this point, in terms of dungeons at least. Pod needing the, in fact, all three. We have Pod needs a hammer to finish, although you can basically full clear it unless the last item's on Helmasaur. You have Ice Palace, which is a pendant, so you wouldn't necessarily want to full clear it. So, but going into Ice Palace without without the hammer, never a great thing. And of course, Swamp, we can check one chest.
Depending on the way things go here, I almost feel we might see our runners check that first chest in Swamp before making their way over to ice.
And of course, without that flute, we can't even get to Mire, which not a bad thing at all.
Yeah, I don't think that's something that these runners are going to be too sad about right now.
No.
Frostbite getting that God Pixel there, not bonking when he dashes into the door. Or if you line yourself up on the right pixel, I believe it's every 4th pixel, some denomination thereof. If you hit a key door, you don't bonk, you actually go right on through. So at this point, we're still looking for that ice rod, a hammer, and our Bombos medallion at the very least.
Yeah, and if I'm these runners, I would love to find the ice rod and the Bombos before hammer. Because those just don't open up anything except Turtle Rock.
Definitely, those would be the best option, is to find those ones. That way you don't run the risk of diving into Turtle Rock without that ice rod.
Well, right now we can't even go to Turtle Rock without the hammer. Let's not forget. So we're not going to be, we're going to be go mode by the time we get to Turtle Rock. So that's the good news. But the hammer does open up more stuff. The ice rod's only going to open up Trinex. Bombo's going to open up Turtle Rock itself. And hoping we don't see that flute before we get there, because that just opens up a bunch of stuff that we don't want to check.
Way too many other checks. Frostbite gonna go pick up that piece of heart hiding in Nagina's cave. JP taking that fire rod right to the back of Skull Woods. So we know that is definitely the right place, since that is where that second item is also hiding.
Yeah, and I think the next step probably is going to be go over to Pod. Problem with Pod is it's an awfully long walk from where you have access in the Dark World. Frostbite going to do the Death Mountain checks that he hasn't done yet, looks like, first.
Yeah, loop back around here, grab the stuff you couldn't get last time, since you do have Titan's Bits this time, before having to literally take the world tour to get over to Pod. JP, however, making quick work there of Mothula, taking them down. That is crystal number 5. We're back even with 5 crystals apiece.
Yeah, and if you're wondering why we haven't checked Pyramid Fairy at this point, yeah, it is possible to get over there. But yeah. I suppose you can, I believe the bomb will follow you into the water. That's an awfully long walk with that big bomb.
Oh, JP giving us a check.
It looks like a fairy in a bottle.
Yep, it is a fairy in a bottle on.
Nope, not gonna go care about that.
So there's your answer for that one.
So yeah, our options at this point are take that tour all the way over to Pod. We could go to Swamp Palace and check one chest, or we can do Pendant Ice to get. Well, we should be able to go through all of it except the very end. In other words, a whole lot of crap. Nothing anyone really wants to do. Looks like JP may finish up his. Did he ever? Which one of them did purple chest? Yeah, that was on Frostbite's side. So he's going to do his part of the Smith sequence. Go ahead and rescue the frog here. Probably going to do the purple chest. We know that's not the right answer. Meanwhile, Frostbite going to check these items on Death Mountain that he did not already check. Also, not going to be his item.
The big difference here between JP and Frostbite when they did Smith Chain and everything is JP could actually fake powder here if he wanted to.
Ooh, that's a good point.
Of course, he'd have to mirror back on the other side, and then won't be able to get back into his port, but he still could do it.
Yeah, I think it makes more sense to go ahead and grab that purple chest since fake powder would not actually be... Oh, well, he is going to do it. Okay.
It's one of those locations you can actually take that purple chest in with you.
You can.
Doesn't like other caves, but seems to like this one for some reason. Alright, fake powdering, run out your magic gauge, take out that red cane, try to use it, and it'll give you the little incorrect sound, pull out the mushroom, and it actually pretends or thinks that it's powder, and voila, just a piece of art.
Yeah, not really surprised that it wasn't anything, since we don't actually have the powder, but worth checking since you're right there. Now you don't have to worry about going back when you do find the powder. I do think Frostbite is going to go ahead and make that pod play. We'll see if he checks Catfish on his way, though.
You may as well come in this way, otherwise if you don't, you're, for the most part, just kind of orphaning it. So you might actually be turning that mushroom in his way.
Oh, that's right, we still have that mushroom. So he won't be doing the fake powder.
Interesting thing to be here. Okay, that's how he's gonna do. He's gonna mirror back. Oh, yeah, he bonked instead.
Well, the bonk is on purpose. He set it up so that it's a little bit quicker.
I was just kind of pondering maybe if you wanted to go check Catfish first, just in case this isn't something, so you could save scum that mushroom. But it is not!
There it is. It is that hammer.
We are definitely picking that item up.
Absolutely. I'm going to buy a couple blue potions at the same time. So now we're just looking for that ice rod and that bombos. And unfortunately, the ice rod and the bombos can be just about anywhere except Turtle Rock. At least the bombos. I shouldn't say that. The bombos can't be in Turtle Rock, but the ice rod could be. And we're not going to see Catfish.
He's got the hammer now. You can go ahead and full clear pod. Let's go ahead and do it. We got quite the dense amount of checks that you can go through over there.
Yeah, absolutely. The good thing about this is that, yeah, you have all sorts of checks. You can finish this dungeon, get yourself to that 6th crystal. But the bad news is, if something is on Catfish, you're not going back there anytime soon.
Yep, and just about the worst item it could be for Frostbite at this point would be that ice rod.
Yeah, absolutely.
We'd probably see him dive into Turtle Rock without that ice rod, banking on a laser bridge play there.
Okay, looks like JP's gonna go ahead and grab that half magic. We'll see if he decides to dip ice at all.
Well, first chest in a bow-locked pod has our bombos.
Yeah, again, wanting to find that ice rod before the bombo, so now Frostbite might be tempted to go into Turtle Rock, and if Turtle Rock has the ice rod, that'll be really good for him, but if it doesn't, that's going to be a long check to get nothing.
And here we go. This could be good for JP. Heading up towards the north over here. He's going to check Pyramid first. Just got to hope he makes his way up towards the mushroom turn-in. Grab that hammer.
Just a red rupee on the pyramid ledge.
Alright, yep, and here we go. JP's heading up north. He's got that mirror out. We're going to be seeing a mushroom turn-in and a hammer picked up here very short. Alright, so stop me when this sounds familiar. We got an early jet seed devolving into hunt for the ice rod.
Yeah, that's the worst. Worst hunt is the ice rod hunt.
That is literally one of the only items that can be hiding anywhere except in Ganon's tower when you have Turtle Rock as a crystal and on Trinex itself. And here comes Catfish. We're about to find out whether or not Frostbite left it behind.
And he didn't, just bombs. He might check this after pod though. Oh, and we do have a gold sword there, so butter and
All right.
silvers.
Well, I guess Ganon's not going to be too much of an issue.
Should not be. Oh, and JP hasn't checked Zora yet, so this makes a little more sense for him to do both of these at the same time.
Yep, routing working out fairly decently for JP to get all these in at the same time. However, in a sense, since we're kind of even at this point between Frostbite and JP, it just put him a little behind since Frostbite is already in pod.
Yeah, everything's going to come down to where is this ice rod and who gets it first if it's not in pod. The bad news about the hammer now is that completely opens a swamp. We already got ice pallets completely opened up. The only thing we can't do is go to Misery Mire. So again, don't want to find that flute because otherwise we're going to be checking that area too.
Yep, at this point, that is the last item the runners want to see. And I'm almost thinking we might see...
Speak of the devil, we just saw it over on Frostbite's side.
Whoops.
Oh boy, so that pretty much opens up potentially everything. We don't know what the medallion is, of course, for Mire, so hopefully it's not Bombos.
Looks like JP choosing to forego the Pyramid Fairy at this time. I was kind of wondering if he was going to decide to check that on his way over to pod, taking the route to the Dark World he did. That's what it looked like.
Okay, Frostbite basically finished with pod. Gonna go ahead and go fight Helmasaur as JP starts his pod. And nice that we did pick up the lamp, because these are some of the harder dark rooms if you don't... Well, they do have the fire rod. So the turtle room would have been done that way, but... Nice so you don't have to worry about that.
Yeah, at the very least, that turtle room does have some torches in there, so you do have a little bit of relief to have that fire rod with you, not the lamp. Without either, this room can definitely be a hassle. You got 5 different Helmasaurs, 5 different turtles, I should say, wandering around randomly in that room. It can be a pain to try to find them completely dark. Here we go. Frostbite a dash down the hallway. We got a fight here with Helmasaur. 17 hits to the face with the hammer before that mask comes off. He's seeing 1 silver arrow to the face. Or a couple of butter slashes.
Yeah. A couple of slashes. Probably a little quicker since you don't have to menu, but...
Either one makes quick work of Helmasaur. Down he goes. Grabs the compass. And crystal number 6 for Frost.
Okay, so now where do you go next? I would think maybe the Pyramid Fairy first, and then you have your crystal dungeons, or do you take a chance on TR?
I'm almost thinking you'd have to take that chance on TR first. Go up there and just hope it's in there.
Yeah, I think so.
There's quite a good number of checks that you can get through, knockout up there, and it's I don't know how many times we have seen that ice rod just hiding on Laser Bridge. So.
And it is 6 items versus, well, Swamp also has 6 items, but Ice Pouch only 3, Misery Mire, which we now can potentially get to only 2, plus the shed and the checkerboard cave as well. So a total of 5 items in that area. And that is what Frostbite's going to do. He's not even going to check the Pyramid Berry.
Heading right on up there. He might be banking on the... Actually, no, wait, he did check Turtle Rock, so he does know that is.
And of course, depending on where that ice rod does end up, he may be able to save that mirror portal at the end of Laser Bridge. We don't see an ice rod there. At which point you really hope it's not in Swamp.
Or even Mire for that point. Or I should just say any of the pendant dungeons. I mean, none of them are really that fun to go ahead and clear.
No, not at all.
Alright, so here we go, Frostbite. Making the dip on into Turtle Rock. We are banking on whether that ice rod is just kind of hiding out in here, hopefully.
So far, we just have a small key. Of course, in this part of the dungeon, you're going to see a lot of small keys.
While over on JP's side, looks like we're heading actually right to the back. Has not opened up the vanilla big key location that we know is hiding that butter sword.
Also has not picked... Oh, he did pick up the flute. Now, the good news is the difference between buttered and tempered is not particularly significant. So if he doesn't end up getting that, he'll be fine. He might choose to check it at the end. It's not a very long check, just to make sure he's not leaving that ice rod behind.
Yep, at this point, it's a case of he knows there's one item left, so we're just kind of banking on it being down in Helmsor.
That makes a lot of sense. And if it's not, he'll have to decide whether he's going to go back in or not. Okay, we have the big key, but not in Goma. We are going to have to check the big key chest. It's one that runners will often skip if they're in that go mode situation.
And over on JP's side, we got another Helmsor fight on our hands. A few hammer whacks to break that mask, and we'll see which route JP decides to go. We're going for 4 slashes with the tempered sword. And down goes Helmsor for crystal number 6. There's a full heart container for Frostbite hiding in Turtle Rock's vanilla big key location. Now the question for JP becomes, do we go back in for that one item in pod? And it does look like
he does. This won't take long. He'll be able to mirror out, or maybe even save and quit, depending on where he decides to go after this.
Oh yeah, and it looks like he knows as well that it's pretty much a hunt for the ice rod at this point. You really don't want to leave even just one check behind it any place at this point. But JP also does have the advantage of knowing that ice rod is not hiding on the... Saving quit. Looks like JP is gonna be heading up the mountain as well.
Yeah, not really a surprise. So if we don't find the ice, if we do find the ice rod here, then Frostbite clearly has the advantage. If we don't, then it'll be interesting to see which locations these two runners decide to go to.
So I know we do have such thing as a commentator's curse and blessing, but is there such thing as a chat curse or blessing? Because I just saw chat say over an hour no shield, and there Frostbite opens up and finds first shield.
Well, the first shield isn't bad, and the fire shield, even if you get the second one, isn't too bad. It's the big shield that most runners really don't want, and we're definitely not getting that because we know that's on the lumberjack ledge.
Oh yeah, nobody's gonna be going back to take out Ego 1 at this point.
No.
Frostbite just has Laser Bridge left in here. JP is starting his trek into Turtle Rock. This is basically the difference between our two runners right now. Frostbite with a little bit of an advantage. It just comes down to where this ice rod is hiding and who gets there first.
Okay, here we go, Laser Bridge. 10 arrows. We do need to have a small key here, so there's at most 3 items here. 4 arrows. And rupee, so we are not going to find the ice rod here.
No ice rod and Turtle Rock. The last one has to be the small key. Frostbite grabs it. We're just saving quitting. We're not even going to bother putting the portal outside.
Yeah, with the other pendant dungeons being in the dark world, it's probably not worth it. And I'm trying to think if there's any more light world checks that even have.
I think we've exhausted most of them at this point.
Frostbite is going to activate the flute. I think that's smart. If nothing else, that'll make his movement a lot faster. Be able to go through and use it. And, you know, taking that quick trip over to Mire to see what that medallion is and to do the 3 quick checks in the Mire Shed and the Checkerboard Cave makes a lot of sense.
Yeah, definitely cannot hurt. Just gives you that little bit of knowledge so you can just kind of take a glance at Mire and know whether or not you really want to be going in there. And here we got an hour, 11 minutes in. Frostbite finally activating our flute.
Oh, he's going to do a ped check as well. Which is really smart because if it did turn out to be ped, then you just go mow the 3 pendant dungeons, but we know it's not, so that's not going to happen.
Yeah, but good decision by Frostbite to do this before you go off and start diving into those pendant dungeons. JP kind of showing off a little bit of a different block strat there for the Chain Chomp. Kind of place it to the right of the first crystal switch, and if you're fast enough after activating it splashes, you should actually be standing on top of the blue switches when the other crystal switches hit, thus giving you a few invincibility frames.
Frostbite is going to start with the Mire area. Let's first see what do we need to get in here. Oh, looks like he's just going to check the shed first. Oh, it is palm. Oh, that's not what he wanted to see.
That was the last medallion he wanted over there.
And red mail and a red rupee.
I guess you can kind of say the Mire area has him seeing red. Well, I'll see myself out after that one.
And just a piece of heart at checkerboard. So, your choices at this point, as I see them, and maybe I'm forgetting something, you can correct me if I'm missing anything. You have Ice Palace, you have Mire, you have Swamp, and you have Pyramid Fairy.
That's what I got.
And none of those. I mean, I think I would do Pyramid Fairy before I do Mire, but, you know, if it's here, that's going to be huge. Hopefully JP goes somewhere else so that we can have a little bit of diversions.
It's just kind of making me think back to the route JP initially took to Pod over there. If he could have just grabbed that bomb for the Pyramid Fairy and actually checked that on his way over to Pod, it could end up being big if that is where the Ice Rod is holding.
And probably not going to finish off these dungeons unless they find out that the last item is on the bosses, except perhaps Swamp because of the green pendant. Oh yeah, here's a spot we haven't checked. We have not checked hammer pegs. Shout out to Old Man Sunshine too for suggesting that one, because of course we didn't have the hammer when we were over in that area. So that's another one to check.
Definitely one of those that's kind of easy for us to forget about at the very least when you have that hammer kind of hiding where it was.
Yeah, absolutely. At the very least, we did not have a leftover item over at Thieves Town, thankfully.
One kind of has to wonder too, because if you remember, JP did do the Harapot, so he did leave an item in that big chest. We know it isn't anything. You just kind of have to wonder that the longer this hunt for the Ice Heart goes on, you know, how much more is it going to be weighing on his mind that possibly could be that item.
Yeah, certainly he's got to be thinking about it, but I think at this point you got to just not check there.
It's definitely got to be one of those things just kind of put in the back of your mind, like, yeah, I skipped it, but at this point, I'm just going to say if the Ice Heart is there, I'm last locationing it, and we're moving on to game. That, or he's kind of hoping Frostbite did the same thing, which Frostbite tried.
Yeah, he
but
did.
After 2 attempts, didn't.
And JP is going to go ahead and mirror out. Or not. And we see an item in Mire, just some bombs. Okay, JP gonna start over Sanctuary. Probably gonna go ahead and activate his flute as well. And he'll have to decide where he's gonna check.
And if you're rooting for JP here at this point, you gotta kind of be hoping he goes somewhere other than the Mire area. If he does that, he's gonna essentially continually be following in Frostbite's footsteps. You kind of want him to go somewhere else to hopefully find that Ice Rod first. So I think you're missing something, Frostbite. All right, take 2.
Okay, well, and now we got the, I believe he's checked everything else, so it's like going to be the 50-50. Are we going to be, oh wait, see, is there another? Okay. At this point, the item's either in the big chest, which he really is hoping for, even if it's not the right item. And it's just Piece of Heart, so he does not have to finish the dungeon. He's going to mirror on out, and let's see where he goes next. Meanwhile, JP going to go ahead and also check the Mire area. See if he goes into the dungeon or not.
JP's still following Frostbite's path here. Like I said, kind of hope he decides to check checkerboard and then leave from there. Frostbite, looks like we're heading down to the Swamp Palace now.
Well, the Swamp Palace at least has the advantage of it's the green pendant. It's 6 items. We'll see if he does this first or if he does the Pyramid Fairy. Nope, looks like he's going to go straight over to Swamp.
And JP not opting for Misery Mire.
He doesn't know it now, but that's going to be a good choice for him. Looks like he's gonna buy some bottles, which if you might mean he's going into Ice Palace, 'cause that's one of the places that having those extra bottles is really useful.
Alright, so let's hope we see an 8 here from JP, so we get a little bit of divergence.
Maybe he's gonna do... Maybe he'll do the hammer pegs first.
There you go. So we're getting divergence, we're getting different checks, just not a dungeon quite yet. However, it is also worth noting JP did use his mirrors, so that attempted portal save for Turtle Rock is now null and void. He doesn't have that portal save anymore, so he'll also have to go completely through Turtle Rock. So he does find that ice rock.
Considering what checks we had left, it was gonna be really difficult to keep that portal anyway.
Yeah, you're essentially gambling you're gambling that it's one of 2 or 3 different locations at that point.
And this time we see a red boomerang, and JP still doesn't want a boomerang, so...
Well, alrighty then. You could at least pick up one of those for a Ganon's Tower climb.
Okay, I want to say he's going to go over and check that Pyramid Fairy now. Or he could be headed over to Swamp. Let's see. Okay, we're going to get the Pyramid Fairy check.
We got our Pyramid Fairy. Meanwhile, Frostbite continuing on in Swamp, not finding much of anything yet.
Looks like he's going to go ahead, going straight to the back. I believe we saw the map right away, so there are going to be, very likely going to be items on the left side. If nothing else, we could have the big key on the left side to the big chest, so something's going to be over there.
It could be something, but we still have 3 more checks before the boss here, and then the boss itself. You got a few more quick checks here on the way.
Heart. Oh, and there it is. In Swamp.
That's an uh-oh for JP. At 1 hour and 21 minutes, that is Ice Rod for Frostbite. We have ourselves a go mode.
Let's see where JP goes next.
He's going back for that Hera chest.
Ooh, ouch.
That's about the only thing I can think of that he's got left over here.
Yeah, I'm pretty certain you're right. I don't think he's skipped anything else. It's kind of what I talked about before. Frostbite didn't quite get that Hera pot, and he was able to see that there was an item in the big chest. Not the item he was looking for, just 20 rupees. But he knew that he did not leave anything behind, and that's the danger. Oh, we're going to get a Spike Cave check first. But we forgot about another spot.
Yeah, another one of those hammerlock locations that you really don't think about until you're looking for the ice rod that can be anywhere.
And just 20 rupees.
Make a dangerous trek across a whole bunch of spikes. We'll just give you a little bit of a tip for it. Back to the mountain, pulling out that flute. And JP, head down towards Swamp. Head down towards Swamp. Right over that 7 to the 6. It looks like we're going into Misery Mine. This is definitely going to put JP well behind Frostbite. Frostbite already with that ice rod. We found that back of Swamp Palace. That's the same item JP's looking for. Fortunately, at this point, he's just kind of retracing steps Frostbite went to. I already know that there's nothing there.
Yeah, and to answer the question in chat, this is only game 1. I do believe they have game 2 scheduled for tomorrow, and game 3, if it should become necessary, would be played on Thursday. So JP, you know, assuming that the outcome stays what we think it's going to be at this point, JP won't be done yet.
Yep, regardless of the outcome here, we still have plenty more randomizer between these two, or at the very least one more. Still chance for JP to dig his way out of it.
And of course, assuming things stay the way they are, JP will be able to change the modes, and maybe he'll decide to go to the 6-6, so the Ice Rod hunt is a little less likely. I know definitely we've seen runners do that after Ice Rod hunt, saying, you know what, let's take that out of the equation if we can.
Yeah, let's do something here to just kind of make it less of a hunt for that one item that could literally be anywhere. Alrighty, as JP plunks around here and Misery Mire is still hunting for that Ice Rod. Frostbite opening up the door. He's got himself with Trinex going for the back. We'll see if we can get the Zero Cycle off here with the Butter Soap. Takes a step to the side, but he does get the Zero Cycle. What's left is a double hit on the head with a spin if you can grab it, then one slash. And there you go. That's about as picturesque of a Trinex fight as you can get. Frostbite taking him down. Crystal number 7. You know what that means.
Yeah, we already see the numbers coming up in chat. 1 through 22. Where is that Ganon's Tower Big Key going to be?
So I usually have a few numbers I kind of sit hovering around for that guess personally. Where are you kind of thinking it's going to be sitting at today, Trace?
I've done well with the number 5 of late, so I'm going to go with 5. How about you?
Sounds pretty good. I think today I'm going to kind of switch it up a little bit and go with a 16. Let's get ourselves a little deep into Ganon's Tower here and see what else this seed can hide for. Spinning crystals and somehow the ways part and a staircase erupts. Ganon's Tower has been in.
Gonna check the right side first. Small key. Heart container. Let's see if he continues to the right side. Looks like he is going to.
That small key off further to the right. Most runners you will see do this kind of route when they do get that small key, so they can just zip right past that tile room. Check the other 4 chests hiding a little bit farther on. However, if you don't find a small key in either of those first 2 chests, that's usually when everybody decides let's go left and avoid tile room for now.
Yeah. 3 is 10 arrows, 4 is a blue rupee, 5 a red rupee, 6 is that ether medallion that we really don't need.
Yeah, we're just kind of filling out checks at this point.
Okay, gonna go back to the left side. Pretty standard. And map out the torch. So that'll be our 7th.
Meanwhile, we got a little bit of uh-oh here over on JP's side.
To Ice Palace.
We're going to Ice Palace before going into Swamp, unfortunately.
Eight is the red rupee. 9 some powder, which is a nice luxury item to get at this point in the game. 10 a small key. 11 the blue cane, another luxury item that we really don't need because we already have the cape.
Yep, that powder will give our runners a nice refill on hearts in the room before Moldorm 2. Probably one of the best uses you will see of powder in the game.
12 is the compass. Assuming I'm still counting correctly.
Yep, that would be 12 to my count.
Frostbite showing why we grabbed boomerang.
Alright, we got 13 coming up over here.
And just a piece of heart.
$14, $15, $16, and $17 coming up. Actually named Rando Room. You won't see this one in NMG runs. You only see it here in Randomizer, and there it is. That is 14. And I should have stuck with my usual number.
Is that your usual guess?
And that it is. Sitting on 14 this evening.
And it looks like See Let Us McGilly was the first to guess 14, so congratulations. You win the Admiration Twitch chat.
Great Corvid right behind it, quite about the same times. A couple of you guessing 14 at the same time. Congratulations, you win the high fives this evening.
And I will point out, nothing wrong with this choice for JP to check Ice Palace. He may have been looking for what he thinks Frostbite won't be checking and try and go to the location that he thinks is most likely to benefit him, and unfortunately it's just not going to work out.
Exactly. Like I said early on, these two runners have faced each other already this tournament and plenty of times before. And sometimes when it comes down to tournament play brackets like this, you tend to try to do some things that you know your opponent won't be doing or usually doesn't do on the norm. Just kind of give yourself that heads up in hopes that you find the item before they do. Frostbite making quick work of this climb. Dashing on into Landmolus 2 here. Missing the first one, getting the other two, gets it on the second cycle. Down goes Landmolus 2. And we got a pair of the most satisfying rooms in Link to the Past coming up, right?
Such a simple strategy here. It's something I never thought of until I saw a speedrun of this game, so always like to see those.
Something I almost wish I would have been shown when I was a little kid playing this game.
I would say the same thing, but I wasn't ever a little kid when this game came out. An older kid, if you will.
Alright, JP's grabbed his items and ice. He's going back up the mountain here. This could be that Tower of Herod chest.
Yeah, I do believe so.
Indeed, it looks like it is. We're going down to grab that big key. At this point, he's got that big chest just kind of just weighing on the back of his mind there to the point where he's going there before he even decides to step in the swamp.
And Frostbite not even checking anything at this point. He has everything he could possibly need. No reason to check any of these chests.
Red mail, silvers, butter. Only thing he's missing is half magic, and he knows where that's at, but he doesn't really need it anyway. There's no point to open anything there. But Moldorm has one last little troll left for us in this seed. He's getting the best of Frostbite on the first one. We're gonna take two right here.
Yeah, and if you're Frostbite at this point, you fall down to Moldorm too. You're definitely feeling behind at this point. He has no idea that JP took a much longer route to get to Ice Rod and still actually hasn't gotten it at this point.
Exactly. And Moldorm 2 is in the history books. We got a quick dash and a geometry test with Aghanim ahead of us before we can begin. Dare I say we're in for some Aghonometry here?
Sure. You might have gotten a triple out of that. I'm not sure. Yeah, that one might have been a double. So far, so good here. Yeah, very nice. I think that was a 3-2-1. Very well done.
3-2-1, as good of one as you can expect. And there you see JP opening up that big chest in Tower of Hair, getting the bad news that is not the answer. That's just 20 rupees. We're still looking for it. You see a few slashes of frustration.
Yeah, definitely would be. I mean, at this point, you know, like we all said, that Ice Rod could be anywhere. Just nothing you can do about that. You just do the best you can, check the locations, and until you find it.
Yep, and he's down to the point too where he knows it's got to be in Swamp here, unfortunately. But meanwhile, Frostbite has dropped down into the Ganon fight. We're already into phase 2. A few quick slashes in each of the first 2 phases, dodging a few fire bats, and then it's time to make this room into a platform. Phase 3, just 4 hits. With each hit, Ganon takes out another wall of the arena. There's hit number 4, and Ganon quivering in fear at the silver arrows. Frostbite, meanwhile, missing that torch glitch.
Yeah, but in this situation, it's just, you know, convenient to get it, but you don't really care that much.
Yeah, pretty much just convenience. Has the silvers, has his butter sword. It's not going to take him too long here. And one more hit, and there it is. Ganon goes down. All that we have left is a 1x3 bridge separating Frostbite from taking game 1 of this best of 3 series between him and JP.
And Frostbite finishing up with an official SRL time of 1:36.41. GG to Frostbite, taking game 1 in this series.
Game 1 going to Frostbite. Let's see what we got going on here in a little bit. As you can see, JP paused there for a little bit as soon as Frostbite finished. Probably because he realized I made a big oops. The Ice Rod's probably hiding somewhere over here.
And joining us is Frostbite. GG.
Thank you. GG for JP. I watched Nando. It was a little rough for him with the Ice Rod hunt. I'll be honest, I didn't feel so great myself when that was going on either, but yeah, everyone's favorite type of seed, right? You have everything except the Ice Rod at like an hour, and then you just gotta go find it, so.
Yeah, and you know, there's, at the point that you guys started looking for it, there just wasn't that much left, and it was just like, which pendant dungeon do you want to dip?
Yeah, I didn't have all that many places left. I honestly didn't feel it was going to be in TR. I don't know if it sounds insane or not, but like I thought about not going to TR, but it just is the wrong play, I think, in that scenario, because if it is in TR and your opponent goes there, like, you lose. It's the worst case scenario,
Yep,
right?
absolutely.
I went to TR feeling that it wasn't there, and while I was going to Pod, I was like, okay, so if I don't find it here and I don't find it in TR, I'm going to go into Swamp. But of course, then I found the stupid flute in Pod.
I know.
And I started thinking, like, why would the flute be here if it wasn't to find the Ice Rod? Because, I mean, I had Ice, I had Swamp, I had other places, but it just seemed very suspicious. that the flute was there. So of course I dove mire and had a little bit of a derp route around that. And then after that, I figured swamp or ice. I was gonna do swamp and then pyramid fairy, pyramid catfish, then ice, then I guess hammer pegs, then spike caves. So I'm happy it was in swamp. I felt pretty good. And then yeah, my execution was hit and miss like usual. And I don't know, early boots, early swords, butter sword, silver arrows in V31. I don't feel too bad about this one. It went okay.
And JP checking left side first. He still doesn't have that ice rod.
Yeah.
You did a lot of the reverse of what you did.
Yeah, I watched, as soon as I finished, I pulled up the restream, so I saw sort of probably a couple minutes before I found the ice rod and sort of what he was doing as well. So, yeah, it makes sense. I mean, I don't know what the right answer. I mean, the right answer is go where the ice rod is, right? So
oh yeah, you know. Yeah, if you know where it is, just go there. Just go get it.
Exactly. Go pick it up and go back. But yeah, it was interesting too because I found that flute, right? So I'm thinking, so go activate the flute, then go to TR, then I can save my portal. But the place I want to go is swamp, so saving the portal isn't going to work anyways. So ultimately, I decided no, I'm just going to go straight to TR. If it's not there, I'll save quit off Laser Bridge, I'll activate the flute, and then I'll just go back from the start. Because I felt there was, I mean, Swamp was like probably, 35% of the items I had left in the game, so I figured there was a really good chance it was going to be in there. And so I didn't want to waste my time trying to save a portal to check these fringe spots like catfish or whatever.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, that makes a lot of sense.
So that's the thing I want to ask. Where was the mushroom? I have no idea where it was. I can't remember. Was it in like Thieves Town or something like that? Because that was like the key item in the whole seed, I think, too.
Yeah, that was actually sitting up there on Cave 45.
Oh, okay. Yeah, I knew it was somewhere between Skullwoods and Desert Palace.
Yeah.
But yeah, it was interesting because at the point where you turn that mushroom, you both hit that mushroom check at about the same time within your routes. It was kind of like you had the hammer, you had the bombos you were missing, and it was the ice rod you're missing. And I'm like, well, it'd be great if the hammer was the last thing you got, and then bombos before that, and
yeah,
get the ice rod first. And of course, it was exactly the opposite.
Yeah, exactly. I mean, I don't see any scenario. As I was going through the end game, I was thinking because I felt pretty good going up GT. I felt like I was in a pretty good spot. I was thinking what scenarios could possibly have got me. I didn't see any scenario where someone goes into the back of Swamp Palace before they go up to TR. But I could have seen a scenario where someone checks the first chest in Swamp Palace, just as they're going down, sort of in that hype cave area. And since it wasn't there, I felt I was pretty solid. I wasn't particularly worried about this. Silly Moldorm though, man, both times too, right?
Yep.
And the first time I knew it. The second I stepped on the platform, I was like, "You're gonna get knocked off," and sure enough. And then the second time, as soon as I missed him on my sprint and I stopped, I was like, "You're gonna get knocked off again!" And sure enough, right away, he just bopped me straight. Obviously, he could have turned any other direction and he wouldn't have hit me, but that's not how Moldorm does. And I was a little bit irritated by that, but yeah, it was okay. I mean, it was a horrible Ganon too, just all these teleports, and then really, really poor silver locations, and slow time, so the timing was off on the first one to try and maybe get a midstream shot in. So I don't know, it was a really nasty phase 4, but I don't know, I think I played pretty good. I can always pick those few spots that stick in my mind. Spiral Cave, I don't know what the heck happened there. I think I hit that same blue bar 6 times. And then in Eastern Palace, I kind of didn't kill enough of those whatever there are popos, and I had the second Igor attracted to me up at the top, and he was trying to kill me really good, and I almost died there. I guess JP told me he died in Eastern Palace. I'm assuming.
Yeah, you did.
Yeah,
right in that spot. Yeah.
Yeah.
You got out of the room quicker. You got out of the room quicker to get.
Well, yeah, I was terrified. I was like, okay.
That room is no joke. So.
Abort. It's not bad, but I just didn't kill enough of the things, and so I kept on getting bonked around. I'm just happy I got the key because that was kind of a YOLO shot to begin with, and then, but silver arrows in there were really nice. I mean, I think this might be, and I'm playing all the tournament races I can, it seems. This is the first time I think I've had the silver arrows out of like in 7 matches or whatever. So that was really nice feeling. It just basically makes your combat free for the rest of the raid.
Yeah, and I'm trying to remember which one of you. I think it was you that had the sword, but one of you went into and got your silver arrows before even getting a sword. So
I had
Yeah.
a sword before I went in.
yeah,
there,
so it was
yeah.
JP then. So yeah, you don't see that very often.
Yeah, exactly. I don't even like. Yeah, it was a fun seed. I was there's all these little things, and obviously the ice rod hunt was horrible too. But like the little horrible things, like I knew the back of escape had to be the map and the key and 1 item, and so I decided after I found the first glove at Bonk Rocks, I had 3 spots left exactly. I had Sick Kid, I had Agina, and I had that new spot that opened, and then I had all of Death Mountain, which was available but not in Logic, right?
Right,
So I decided.
right.
There's a good chance one of these 3 things is going to be the lamp, and then maybe I can just skip this entirely. And of course, that never seems to work anymore. It used to work, but it's always, I think I've seen that like particular, 3 item locations, but one's the map and one's the key, like 4 or 5 times, in my practice seeds. So it's been really, really strange the way that happens. And then the other thing is I messed up the hair pot, and I know exactly what happened. And then I just, instead of going for it a 3rd time and potentially biffing it again, I was like, just nuts to this. If there's an item in the big chest, you're probably going to want to come back for it anyways. So it happened, and I'm happy I did it that way anyways, because I was either worried about skipping that the whole time, or I would have gone back for it and ended up going through Tower Room again anyway. So
yep, because JP did manage to get the hair pot, and that's exactly what he did. He did go back and get that item. So
yeah, exactly.
The hair pot's a double-edged sword in exactly that fashion.
Yeah, I don't like doing it particularly much when the big key's in the basement. I mean, it's one thing. I think totally different in these 1v1s than I do in a 1v1. I'm more concerned about leaving items behind, whereas in a big race or whatever, I don't really care about that. I'll just skip everything and try and win. And if it doesn't happen, I finish 16th in last location, something in Uncle Chest or whatever. I don't care. But in these races, I don't think like that at all. So I figure if the big key's there, doing hair pot is obviously good if you can get it quickly. It's just straight up faster. Yep. But I understand with 1 item in small key, there's a reasonable chance that the second item is going to be available. I think it would be 66% of the time it would be available. So I think that's a totally reasonable play, and just bailing on it if it's not there. But yeah, this was a silly seed. I feel early boots makes it really fun. The Jabate flute was annoying, and obviously the hammer location was annoying. Every seed missed stuff, but I didn't have to double dip any dungeons, and it was pretty free combat wise, so it was fun.
Yeah, and talking about that flute, that's the other thing we kept saying. Don't want to find that flute, and of course,
yeah, exactly.
right? Yeah, I mean, maybe I commentary cursed you or something, because I think I said that at one point right before you got it.
I don't believe in that stuff, so that's cool. But yeah, I wish there'd have been the ice rod. I was so wanting the ice rod to be in pod, because I would have had a pretty, not a super fast time, but I probably would have subbed or close to sub 120 if the ice rod had been. Maybe not quite 125, whatever. If the ice rod had been in pod or TR, it would have been a really fun seed, but of course it wasn't, so it just into that pile of not memorable but not fun seeds you play. Fair enough, though. I felt I played well. I felt pretty good about it the whole time. I wasn't too. I mean, I figured if I didn't last locate the ice rod, in like Pyramid or Catfish, those were the 2 spots I figured if it was there, I was going to be in trouble. But every other spot I felt pretty good about. So. But anyways, I gotta get going. I gotta race Fear Agent in a mystery race right now after this, so that's why you're not getting into tonight. So maybe I'll be.
Good luck with that.
Yeah, well, we played a seed just quickly before I go. We played a seed earlier today that it ended up being hard entrance swordless, and unfortunately, the silver arrows turned into a green 20, and the seed was, I guess, quote unquote completable, but neither one of us completed it. So, anyways, thanks for calling it, Spy and Tracy and Yoinkers for the tracking, and again, GG's to JP. We're playing again tomorrow night at the same time, and I'm looking forward to it.
All right. Well, good luck in your race tonight, and good luck tomorrow.
Thank you. And I'm going to take off now because I got to get going. Thanks.
All right.
GG's, Frost. All right, and it looks like we do have JP continuing on. Looks like he's choosing to finish out the seed, so we're going for another Ganon Tower big key hunt here on JP's.
But guesses don't count this time.
Unfortunately, I already know where it's at, but this time it's going to technically be 12.
Yeah, because he did not check the right side at all. So at least he's got that going for him.
Or 8. I only subtracted 2, not 4. 10. I can't math. I can't math today. Don't listen to me.
Well, I don't know about you, but I'm out here in the Central Time Zone. It's almost midnight here, so.
Yeah, I'm sitting in the same place, so it's getting there. All right, JP in the rando room opens the first chest and finds it. Still opening the other chest. And here we go, mirroring back. We are going to start our climb. Now, if nothing else for JP, this will be a little bit of practice here for the climb and on the gauntlet. Some practice on Aga. It's something that really just never can be understated, practicing your runs up through these rather difficult rooms.
Another place where it's always nice to have those silver arrows dealing with those mimics.
Yep, it'll take 1 arrow shot to knock him down instead of 2. It just makes it a little bit faster, even though those silver arrows with that sparking behind them does give you a little bit of counsel. So once again, I will go ahead and mention as JP makes his way into the gauntlet here, be sure to give both himself and Frostbite a follow over on their Twitch channels. Putting on quite a show for you here this evening. And of course, as you heard, Frostbite sounds like he's going to be doing a few more seeds. But these runners definitely always appreciate it when you go ahead and just jump in on their own Twitch channels when they're doing practicing or other seeds or whatnot. They just like the support, so be sure to go ahead and give them both follows and show them both your love and thanks for putting on quite a race for you this evening. More to come.
Yeah, and you know, without that ice rod hunt, this is going to be a very, very close race. So hopefully tomorrow we'll see more of a close race one way or the other.
Definitely. Up until that point where it basically just devolved into that ice rod hunt, both runners were essentially at the same dungeon doing just about the same things. It's just the only divergence happened when one decided to go mire over to swamp, the other one went mire into overworld checks, ice, and then swamp. Fortunately, taking the other way around. It just wasn't the right way this time. JP once again giving you a quick look again at those awesome Wizard Brew strats. Red King coming in handy for more than just putting blocks down to get you through some dungeons.
Alright, probably not going to check any of these chests either. Again, having everything you could possibly need to finish this off.
2 keys in hands, all the items you could want. And right there, of course, using the powder on that refill with the 2 different anti-fairies there, the anti-fairy and the bunny beam. Transforming them both into fairies will more than likely always fill your hearts up if you grab both. And JP taking down Moldorm 2, not getting bonked off. And now he's got himself a little bit of an egonometry test. The big pig. First round, we get a double. I believe that was another double there.
I do think so.
And it was 2-2-2. Down goes Aga 2, or as we've seen it in this seed, the first and only battle with Aghanim. We are on to Ganon after a short Albatross Express flight. Always kind of wondered if that's supposed to be Ganon's tower you kind of see in the background there by the sun.
I always like that background.
Definitely an interesting one. Probably one of the cooler ones you'll see in some of these older SNES games. Alright, a few quick hits and we are already into Phase 3 for JP. It's time to play the teleport dance with Ganon. He decides to shrink the arena on us. It's again 4 phases, Phase 3, always set static to 4 different hits. Each hit takes out another side of the room. Falling down that room unfortunately puts you in another pit where you gotta basically reset the whole. And of course, realizing that JP also has the silver arrows. JP hitting the torch glitch, but takes a fall from the.
That's rough. Not the way you want to end the race.
Definitely not what you want to see.
JP's gonna go back and get right back on there, and he'll finish this out.
Showing off a little bit of map knowledge there. You can bonk into that tree and get yourself a fairy. Alright, climb back up the Pyramid of Power, drop back down, and we got number 2 going off. Alright, quickly once again out of Phase 1, working our way into Phase 2, using that hookshot for some invincibility frames to not be hit by those bats as they make their way around. Here we go back into Phase 3. Of course, this time Ganon will have a different teleport pattern than he did last time. The first one is usually seeded so that it matches for both of the runners. We'll take a little bit of the randomness out of the randomizer there, just to kind of make things a little more fair.
Gets a double there, and gonna get one more shot, and he will finish with an official SRL time of 1:57.16. GG to BrewersFanJP, finishing off.
Yep, get your GGs in chat, folks. JP finishing off the seed, coming in second for this match. Definitely well played. Good job by JP to go ahead and stick it out for us. It does look like JP will be foregoing the interview for tonight, since of course it is getting fairly late on our end. So with that being said, do you have any other final thoughts here sitting on this lead that we just saw, Trey?
I don't like ice rod hunts. But I will go through, we do have quite a few races scheduled for tomorrow, so I will go through that schedule. Looks like we have 4 races in total going on tomorrow. At 6:20, we have Dr. Marty Zero versus Magnificent. That'll be on Speed Gaming 3. At 6:50, and I saw a few people asking about this match in chat, we have Game 4 between Ace 0187 versus Koi. I called that race 3, which did end in a tie, so big hype for Game 4 tomorrow night. At 9:30, we have Hacksaw versus NY Rambler. That'll also be a game 3. And of course, we already mentioned that same time tomorrow at 10:50, we'll have Frostbite3030 versus JP. Versus BrewersFanJP. JP finishing up right here. That'll be a game 2, since this was only game 1. But so lots of action tomorrow night that you all should tune into.
Definitely plenty more randomizer for you and plenty more chances for JP to make his way out of this group stage. And go ahead and join Walther from Group G for qualifying for the bracket stage. It's getting late. I don't think we're going to hold you too much longer. Would like to thank everyone for joining us here. Would especially like to thank our tracker Yonkers Way for keeping us in track, making what we do look easy, clicking all the buttons behind the scenes. And of course, it goes without saying, once again, be sure you give both of these runners a follow on their Twitch channels and show them love and support for putting on quite the show for you.
Yeah, and also thank you to you, Spy Weaver, for joining me tonight. It was a pleasure doing commentary with you.
And likewise to you, Tracy. Always a pleasure when we get to call ourselves one of these interesting races. Unfortunately, like you said, it just kind of evolved into one of those, stop me when it sounds familiar, it's an ice rod.
Yep.
All right, but I think that's going to do it for us. I'm Spy Weaver. I'm signing off for the evening. We'll see you guys back tomorrow for some more Link to the Past randomizer action.
Yes, be sure to tune in.